Willow is a franchise that, in my opinion, didn't need a continuation. They should have left it alone and had the 1988 film be the only one, but of course, Hollywood is desperate for franchises to reboot, and they did just that, but only days after the 2-episode premiere aired. It has faced the wrath of angry fans because it's already sitting at an abysmal 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So starting with this Daily Beast article, it says Disney Plus's Willow series is just like the movie except much worse. To a significant extent, Disney's streaming strategy appears to involve raiding their archives for every last available property capable of being turned into a multi-season series, arriving in the wake of the Mighty Ducks, Game Changers, High School Musical, the series, and various Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars efforts, and ahead of the Santa Clauses and Edge of History, Willow continues that tactical trend. I think that they need to stop doing this, because people are sick and tired of seeing their favorite franchises be revived just to be ruined. People are sick of it. They are going to start losing consumers in droves if they keep doing this. And if you want to reboot or revive franchises, just space them out a little bit more. It's the only content they're creating at this point. It says, while Willow can't be bothered to devise a title that differentiates itself from its predecessor, a common reboot sequel approach that continues to make no sense whatsoever, it does concoct a novel quest for its pint-sized hero, even if it doesn't properly reintroduce Willow until the closing minutes of the premiere episode. Decades after vanquishing evil by defeating Nockmaar's villainous queen Bavmorda, Willow is now a bona fide sorcerer, and Davis's performance as the diminished Nelwyn do-gooder proves the absolute highlight of these proceedings. Unfortunately, while Willow is a good part of this show so far, everything else is bad. First of all, it feels like a low-budget series, like they said, we really want to create this, but we don't want to put anything into it. What's the lowest cost you can get on this show? And they went with it. And second of all, it's not really a fantasy story. It's an LGBTQ story that happens to be part of this universe, which they clearly did, because if Willow or Sorsha weren't part of it, virtually no one would watch it. How many people want to watch a show where one of the main characters is running away because, ew, she has to marry a boy and she doesn't want to? Yes, that's an underlying plot to a lot of the series, but the only story these characters have so far, which is very unfortunate. This is what they decided to bank on so far, in at least the first 2 episodes, is you've got these characters who are lovers, who unfortunately can't really be lovers because one of them is supposed to marry somebody else, and they don't want to. And then the other storyline is with this young maid girl, and you don't really know who she is, but clearly she's a big part of the story because she has a lot of screen time. And then they finally admit, oh, she's not just a maid, she is actually, of course, to no one's surprise, Elora Danan, which you could tell in the first 5 seconds that she was on screen that she was going to be special and an important character, but they tried to establish that she was hidden away, that they, were hiding her in plain sight, and of course it ends up being her. At least they didn't keep that going throughout the whole series, because that's something that Rings of Power did that was awful. You could tell who Sauron was going to be, even though half the story was, who is Sauron? So at least they didn't keep that going throughout this show, but it still wasn't good. But I am not the only person that has had issues with these two premiere episodes because fans are not happy with this series. Going on over to Rotten Tomatoes, of course, the critic score is sitting at an 86. The critics like it as of right now, but the audience score has been steadily dropping. It is sitting at a 34%, and everybody is roasting this show, saying it is so low effort. It is crazy. Look at all of these 1 stars, half stars, a couple of 3 stars to 4 stars, but no 5 stars in sight. People are saying things like, wow, what a travesty. Honestly, since Lucasfilm was sold, it's gotten worse and worse. Why do this to Willow? Honestly, just leave it alone. This was so bad, poorly written with repetitive storylines, makes me want to unsubscribe to Disney Plus. About as bad as I thought it would be. After seeing the horrible Boba Fett and Obi-Wan shows, I only watched the first episode but have zero interest in continuing. No likable characters, poor acting, and a bland story. TV and cinematic storytelling is simply becoming a lost art. The Disney magic is dead and has been for some time. Now, I'm going to watch the whole show so that I can fairly review it for you guys and give you my full thoughts on the series, but if I was just a normal consumer and I wasn't, talking about my thoughts on these shows online, I would have turned it off after episode 1 and I wouldn't go back. The show is just bland, boring, the acting's terrible, it's low budget. It just feels like they put the least amount of effort into it that they could have, which is so sad. It's so disappointing. These people need to start creating better content. I think that Willow could have been a really good TV series if they had put the time and the effort into it. And at this point, I just wish that they wouldn't have touched it at all. I don't want continuations that are bad. It's like these writers were told going into this that they had this modern audience's checklist and they had to check off as many boxes as possible. Good writing? No. Just check off these boxes like an LGBTQ storyline, forbidden romances. Also, I feel like the series doesn't have a targeted audience because they want to target people with nostalgia, yet a lot of the jokes are Disney Channel level and they don't come across that funny, so I don't really know who they were trying to get to watch this show, but so far it's a bit of a disaster for Disney, as you can tell, and it is sitting at a 34 average audience score. I don't think that there's a way that this show is going to magically go from a 34 to like an 80 or 90 in only 6 more episodes, but this show so far is just not good, and it's honestly worse than we all expected. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.